What is up, everybody? Welcome to UFC Vegas 38 Best Bet, where we give the best bet for each and every single fight on the card. And as always, there are only two rules on this podcast. Rule number one, we're going to use current UFC lines. And rule number two, there is absolutely no passing, not even on the Shanna Young-Stephanie Edgar fight. We have to put out a bet for you guys. If you guys can all leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you have not yet, go check out these guys as well. Wheezy, what is up? Wheezy is actually in Florida. He's on vacation, has a nice drink in his hand, ready to go. Wheezy, what is up with you?
I'm feeling good over here, Brady. Just getting started with my first beverage of the day. But I'm also getting ready to get started talking about these fights, figuring out some good bets. I've only got a couple of bets on this card, you guys, so far, but I'm looking to see if you guys can talk me into anything else. I got a couple good spots lined up, but I really need you guys' help here because I'm on vacation. I'm not working as hard as I'm used to. But hopefully you guys can talk me into some picks here today.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about a ton of stuff. We have Narco back. What is up, Narco? How you doing today?
What's up, bud? Thanks for having me. Yeah, glad to be back. Took a week off. Fortunately, had to go out of town for some family things. So, yeah, I'm glad to be back. I have some plays that I feel good about. So, yeah, let's get it going.
Let's go. Excited to have you back. And then we have the GOAT making his first appearance on the show. What is up, Tajik? How you doing?
Hello, Brady, Uncle Easy, Narco Cop. Pleasure to be with you on your pod. I'm a big supporter and a fan of your show and other MMA content creators, so I felt it's logical that I come in and share my insights with your viewers and the martial arts fans overall in terms of betting and DraftKings.
Yeah, for sure. When you messaged me saying you wanted to come on, did not hesitate in saying yes. Glad to have you on, man. Do want to shout out the chat. We have Brian in the chat. We have Walter. Eric saying we're hitting big. Adrian with the dono. Tom Breeze in the building. What is up, Tom Breeze? Super Look, Wesley, Trevor, thank you all so much for hanging out. I say we get into it. And let's start with the very first fight of the night. And we have Alejandro Perez going against Johnny Eduardo. Wheezy, let's kick it off to you first.
All right, guys. So I have got Alejandro Perez down as Uncle Wheezy's ass shaving of the week. And there's a couple of different reasons for this. First of all, Johnny Eduardo is 43 years old. So it's hard to bet on 43-year-old fighters. Number two, the last couple of times I've seen Eduardo lose, I really saw disinterest. You know, I mean, when you get older, the motivation for getting in the cage becomes a little bit more about money and setting yourself up for your future and a little less about being champion. So I'm just seeing some disinterest out of Eduardo. We've got almost a 3-year layoff for Eduardo. There's also a 2-year layoff for Perez here. The one bet that I actually do have on the fight right now is the fight doesn't go to decision for 1 unit at plus 100. I definitely think this fight finishes inside the distance. Johnny Eduardo is very dangerous in the first couple of minutes of fights, but if he doesn't get his opponent out of there, he loses interest. And I see whether it be Eduardo very early or Perez in the second or third round, I see this fight finishing inside the distance. I got 1 unit on that fight doesn't go, but I also think Perez inside the distance at, I think it's a little bit better than plus money right now. Is also a pretty good bet. I think this guy wins the fight in Perez like 80% of the time. So I do like Perez to win inside the distance, but the bet that I actually have is plus 100, 1 unit fight doesn't go.
Yeah, I'm with you on that same exact bet. And the best bet I'm going to give out is actually as well, the fight doesn't go to decision minus 156. And the reason being, like you said, I think you broke it down perfectly, right? Like Johnny Eduardo, he's very dangerous, but he's very dangerous early. He does slow down as the fight goes on. He is now 43 years old, coming off of a 3-year layoff. He's been finished in his last 2 fights, I believe. And, you know, Perez isn't much of a finisher, but like you said, I feel like Eduardo, if he does not get that finish, he's going to kind of quit in there and kind of fall over. But either way, I see violence in this fight. I think minus 156 is fine. But yeah, that is a official bet of mine. Narco, what do you like in this fight?
I'm right there with you guys. I have fight doesn't start round 3 at minus 112. I just think, you know, Eduardo's been gone for 3 years. Perez for 2. Eduardo, for one thing, like in the first round, he's very dangerous. He throws heat in that first round. So, like, if you do like Eduardo round 1 KO, I think is like plus 1,300 is something you should look at. But yeah, you know, Alejandro Perez came off a really nasty KO to Yadong Song, so he's been out since then for 2 years. So we don't know, you know, he normally has a good chin, but you know, Eduardo, again, he does throw heat. Looking at the Instagram for Perez, it doesn't seem like he kind of like did anything as far as training as opposed to Eduardo, so that kind of scared me. So, yeah, I think the under is a good play, just because Eduardo, like you mentioned, is kind of a quitter. Once you put it on him, you know, he tends to give up. And I think Alejandro Perez, if he gets through the storm in the first round, I think he gets to put him away probably in the second. So, yeah, I like that. Doesn't start round 3.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Eduardo has been finished a massive 10 times in his career, 9 by sub and 1 by knockout. And then Perez has been finished a massive 5 times in his career, 5 out of 8 losses. The GOAT, Tajik, what are you looking at for this fight?
I don't have much interest betting-wise in this fight. There was a strange encounter during the face-off, and it looked like Johnny Eduardo was talking to Alejandro was talking to Johnny, and it looked like he was saying something like "you owe me money" or something like that, and he was trying to extract it in a very confrontational manner. I in general think that it's a good matchup for Alejandro. He is on a 2-fight losing streak, but it's a good bounce back fight for him. There is a lot of animosity, but I think at the same time, to me, it probably goes to a decision. I like the decision line here at plus 225. Alejandro wins by decision. And then there's a DraftKings line, DraftKings Sportsbook line, Alejandro by decision plus 350.
I see a plus 250 Perez by decision. Yeah, he's been a decisionator, right? So I could see it, but I am personally going the other way. And we do have about 130 here. If you all can hit the like button, that'd be much, much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel, and also go check out these guys. They do a lot of great content themselves. Tajik has not been doing content, but he just started this week. Tajik, you gonna keep it up in the content game?
I just like to be a guest on the show. Let's see how it goes. I like to support your community in general. You know, if the feedback is out there and people would want to see more of me, I'll be happy to join the show. I mean, your show is one of the highlight, I think, of the MMA betting world, and it's a great opportunity, I think, for me to join it. So, but we'll see how it goes in the future.
For sure, man. I think you're doing great. We have Shanna Young going against Stephanie Edgar. We'll kick it off to you, Tajik. What are you liking for this fight?
Oh, for Shanna versus Edgar, right?
Yeah.
So Edgar is credentialed grappler, right? She's a judo champion. And for Shanna, she's probably not the UFC caliber of a fighter. She wrestled collegiately. Her base is in karate. And I've said that in the previous appearances, she made Macy Chiasson look like a Merab Dvalishvili, right? Her wrestling defense is subpar. I like Edgar here. I think Edgar is available to win straight at minus 120 on FanDuel, and I think it's a good opportunity for her. So that would be my bet.
Yeah, I like that. Narco, what are you looking at for this fight?
I don't have a bet in this fight, but you know, looking at these two low-level girls, to be honest, I don't think they're not UFC caliber. So if I had to take something, I'd probably take Shanna Young at plus 130 right now, because I just feel like, you know, if you're getting plus money and two low-level fighters, I think Shanna has the better hands here. And, you know, Stephanie Edgar's like takedowns suck. So I don't know how she's going to get her to the ground. So, I mean, I do favor Edgar if it gets down there. I just don't believe her wrestling is any good to get it down there. So, and then for whatever Shanna Young is, she's pretty strong. So, you know, I just think if this fight stays standing, she's probably going to have the better hands here.
Yep, for me, I'm kind of going the other way. I don't have a ton of confidence in the money line of Edgar or anything like that, but a line that did stick out to me is going to be Edgar wins inside the distance plus 300. She's finished 80% of her wins thus far. Shanna Young, you know, very questionable takedown defense, very questionable submission defense, getting taken down twice and submitted by Sarah Alpar is definitely not a great look. You know, Edgar is a judo black belt. She is a solid grappler as well. I think the submission is more live, but maybe a TKO. So plus 330. Or plus 300 is what I was looking at for Edgar inside the distance. Also, Edgar by submission, which is plus 450, plus 500 on FanDuel as well. Taking a shot on the inside the distance prop for Edgar. Wheezy, what are you looking at this one? What side do you like here?
Well, I definitely don't have a bet for this one. I'm staying away from this fight. It's low level, like Narco Cop said. I haven't liked what I've seen out of Edgar, and I really haven't liked what I've seen out of Young. That being said, I do think that if this fight goes to the ground, Edgar is going to just have a very big advantage there. So the only thing that I can think of, because I could see this fight finishing, I could see it going to decision, I could see either fighter winning. But the one place I kind of do see a little bit of an advantage here is for Edgar on the ground. And because Young has shown just a little bit better than 50% takedown defense thus far in her UFC career, maybe, although we did see Edgar get one takedown against Tracy Cortez, maybe we could see her have a little more experience and success with the wrestling and the grappling, and maybe she gets a judo throw or a sweep or a trip. So I'm picking the Stephanie Edgar money line here, but I'm definitely not betting this fight.
There you go. So we will move on to the next fight. We have Douglas Silva de Andrade going against Gaetano Parello. Narco Cop, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Really like the under on this one at 2.5, under 2.5 at plus 105. I just think, Parello's going to go out there and try to swing. He's very bad on the ground. I also think, like, if Andrade really wants to take this to the ground, he's the much better grappler, and his submission line is at plus 1,400, which is really, really off in my opinion. So, like, if he wants to take this to the ground, Parello is so bad down there that Andrade can dominate. But I also think he can knock out Parello. And I'm not going to actually sleep on Parello's hands because he has some pop behind him. But, like, Andrade is very durable. He's only lost to really, really high-level guys. And this is like a freaking huge step down for him. So I just think he should dominate here. And, under 2.5, I think he stops Parello sometime in the first or second. And again, if you want to get a little frisky, that submission at plus 1,400 is not bad at all.
Oh, yeah. I think Parello's been submitted like 4 times, something crazy like that as well. So, yeah, that is, I might be a little frisky and take a shot on that little stab. For me, I'm going to kind of agree with you here. I like the fight doesn't go to decision, minus 122. I think it's going to be one of those fights where they just stand in the middle and bang it to one man falls. Parello, obviously a very dangerous striker, has like a 93% finish rate. Douglas Silva de Andrade, a very dangerous striker in his own right. And I think Andrade is going to be, fought the better competition. He has the better cardio as well. I think Andrade, probably does put his lights out, but on the flip side, I do like covering both sides there because Parello is very dangerous in his own right, and De Silva is 36 years old, which is definitely getting up there. So I like the fight doesn't go, but yeah, plus 1,400 by submission, that definitely does stick out as well. Tajik, what are you looking at for this fight?
I don't have much interest betting-wise. I think Douglas Andrade is the rightful favorite in this fight. But I also think that for Gaetano, it's a great opportunity to showcase his stand-up. For Andrade to pick him, it's a little bit tough because, the last 2 of his 135 fights, he got stopped by Jan and Rob Font, right? So it's a little bit tough to bet him at the spot. But if I were to, I think his game is more versatile. His stand-up is great. He showed that in the Lerone Murphy fight, like Narco Cop said. I wouldn't bet this fight, but if I were, I would take Douglas Andrade by unanimous decision on DraftKings at plus 250.
Plus 250, there you go. Wheezy, what are you looking at for this fight here?
This is an interesting one to me. I'm a stats guy, and we know that Parello has been absolutely awful on the ground. Here's the problem. Silva de Andrade is not the kind of fighter to take fights to the ground. He's 5 of 10 on his takedown attempts in the UFC. And over an 8-fight sample size, you guys, an 8-fight sample size, Douglas Silva de Andrade is averaging 3.75% control time. That's less than 1 out of every 20 seconds that he's controlling his opponent. So if that's the kind of fight he's going to fight against Gaetano Parello, this line is just way too wide, in my opinion. Also, in both of Andrade's losses, 35, he was finished in Peter Yan and Rob Font. So the level of competition is not even close. But here's the problem with this fight. My only edge that I can give to De Andrade in any category here is strength of schedule. That's a problem for me for somebody that's sitting around minus 260, minus 270, minus 280 right now. If De Andrade spends 4 out of 100 seconds in control time against Parello, this fight is probably going to be 60-40 De Andrade, and you're giving up too much. So my bet is going to be Gaetano Parello by KO at
Ooh.
plus 550. Andrade moving back down to 135. He's going to be chinnier there. He's been finished inside the distance in both of his losses at 135. I'm afraid Silva won't be the kind of guy to make Parello feel uncomfortable. And Parello in his own right has a 93% finish rate. I think Silva gives him the type of fight that he wants. I think he's going to be very dangerous. And at plus 550, you can just sprinkle it. You won't have to have a lot of exposure to it, and it's a chance to win some money. I don't like this spot for Andrade.
Yeah, I don't really like the line, but yeah, it's plus 600 on DraftKings, even the Parello by knockout. Like that's his path to victory, right? A knockout. I don't see him winning a decision. Obviously, he's not going to submit him as well. So yeah, hot take, but I like the call. So we will move on to the next fight here, and we do have this should be another good one. Jamie Malarkey going against Devontae Smith. It seems like these first couple fights, maybe not the most name value in the world, but I think there's going to be some violence there. Jamie Malarkey, Devontae Smith. We'll start with Tajik Bey. What do you have here, Goat?
Again, I don't have much interest in betting this fight. I do overall think that Malarkey has more ways to win this fight. His stand-up, he showed it. He can wrestle. He's a very, very willing wrestler. He wrestled Ziam, he wrestled Brad Riddell. And for Devontae, I think his path to victory is very limited. It's probably limited to the first round KO. He has a great jab, but I still do not see what's the process to his game. What can Devontae bring past the first round and then maybe keeping Malarkey at the distance. So I like Malarkey here. I don't see much value at it, but if I were to bet Malarkey, I would bet him to win straight at plus 135.
So you are on the Malarkey side. Narco, are you on the Malarkey side or the Smith side, or are you taking a prop here?
I'm all over the place on this one, Brady. I actually have under 2.5 at minus 155. I think this is kind of one of those fights that, like, Malarkey is very hittable on the feet. So, like, Smith hits really hard. He's very live for that first round KO. But I also have, like, Malarkey by sub is too wide at plus 1,000. I also bet small on Malarkey sub round 2, round 3, which is like plus 3,400 and plus 4,000. I just think if this gets deeper, Smith's gas tank is a huge question mark, and Malarkey's going to be that guy that's going to constantly pressure. So, pressure wears on your gas tank. Smith has a questionable gas tank. I believe, Malarkey's going to have a hard time getting this to the ground in the first round if he's to decide to go that way. But I think it's going to get easier in the second and third round with Smith's gas tank going. So that's where I see this fight kind of, lingering in that first round. I favor Devontae Smith, and if he does catch him clean, I think he gets to put him out because I know Malarkey is durable, but Smith hits very hard, and that's why I like that under 2.5. But I also sprinkled in some of those props.
I like it. Yeah. Juicy for sure. For me, I'm going to agree with you. I do like the under 1.5 as well, under 2.5 as well, minus 160 there on FanDuel Sportsbook. It's a tough fight to call because I agree with Tajik that, Malarkey probably has more paths to victory, but I just don't like how hittable he is. He has like a 43% striking defense. And like you mentioned, Narco, Devontae Smith hits like an absolute truck. But yeah, in Devontae Smith's 13 fights, he has never seen the scorecards win or loss. I actually question his durability quite a bit. He's been knocked out twice. I also question his cardio. If this does get extended, I think Malarkey can definitely take over and find a finish himself. Malarkey is no stranger to finishing, has a 93% finish rate. The last time Malarkey actually won a decision was back in 2013. Malarkey hits really hard himself, to be honest. So yeah, I like the under, kind of covers both sides. Really hard for me to pick a side. If I was to pick a side, it probably would be Smith, but I really don't like that line. So I'm taking the under at about the same price. Wheezy, what are you liking here?
Definitely agreeing with all the analysis that you guys have put out about this fight. I really do think it finishes inside the distance. I was going to say fight doesn't go to decision at minus 200. So you guys are getting just a little bit more greedy than me at the under 2.5, which is fine because I agree with everything that you guys are saying. First of all, Devontae Smith, his hands are so fast and so powerful that in the first round, he is incredibly dangerous, and that's his best path to victory. But like you guys said, if he gets out of that first round, I think nobody knows their win condition better than the fighter themselves. And when your win condition is, first round knockout, and now you're in the second round and you're getting wrestled, it's easy to find that door sometimes. And we've seen that Smith has not only been 100% finisher in his wins, but also 100% finisher, in his losses as well, as he even got finished by John Gunther, which is not a good look, dude. John Gunther was a very, very, very low level UFC fighter. Fight doesn't go to decision feels almost like a parlay piece. And at -200, it's a great spot. 2 units to win 1. And I think it's a really safe play. I think the longer this fight goes on, the better Malarkey's chances are going to cash that +130 underdog ticket as well. But yeah, the pick is going to be fight doesn't go to decision.
Sounds good. Looks like we're mostly on the same page with everybody. Mixed Partial Farts brings up he's a pure striker, watches old fights as an example. I noticed that as well. Like outside of the UFC, Malarkey doesn't wrestle a lot, and then he comes into the UFC and all he does is wrestle. So that's weird, but shout out to him for starting to wrestle. I think he's going to need to wrestle quite a bit here. We do have a dono in the chat as well. Adrian, Uncle Weezy, Tom Breeze approves on that ballsy call. He's talking about the Parello knockout call. So there we go. Let's see if that does hit. That'd be a very good call, Weezy. So we'll move on to the next fight, and we have Karol Rosa going against Correia. Let's start with Tajik. What do you got here?
So for Rosa, I'm interested in betting Rosa. In fact, I did. I think she's a very complete fighter. I think she stops Betch here. I like Rosa to win by TKO at +500, and then if you feel froggy, you can bet her by TKO at +1800. This is Betch's retirement fight, and I think it's a great opportunity for Rosa to showcase her skill. We know that Betch came overweight, so there is very little motivation to be in the octagon, and I think it will catch up after the first round that she doesn't want it no more. So my prediction is that Rosa by TKO in round second, but if I were to bet it lightly, I bet actually Rosa by TKO at +500.
Yep, I'm going to 100% agree with you there, Tajik. +600 on FanDuel. She's like a -700 favorite. And like you said, I just don't know if Betch is, showing up to try to win or she's just showing up for a paycheck, right? She missed weight. I don't think she's taking it as serious. And Correia is, typically very, very durable. But I think Rosa's just going to put it on her, land a ton of volume. And I very well could see Correia just, finding the door and just getting out of there. So, yeah, instead of -700, which, I think it's warranted, to be honest, the +600 is a little juicy for a TKO prop there. Weezy, what are you looking at for this fight?
Sorry, was on mute there. The thing was, I was looking at this, and Correia's been finishing 3 of her 5 losses in the UFC, but also Rosa not really a finisher in her own right in the UFC. So I was looking at Rosa by decision. I was looking at Rosa inside the distance. And I just decided, make Rosa a parlay piece, just the Rosa money line. Throw her in a couple of parlays at even at -700. It's something. But I'm going to totally chicken out on this one, you guys. I don't want to pick her by the distance. I don't want to pick her inside the distance. I just think that this is an easy fight for Rosa. There's no way Correia wins, but Rosa hasn't shown me the kind of ability to finish inside the distance that I'm going to, lay that much money on her, even at +500. And plus, I think when I was looking at it earlier, it was much worse than that by KO. Where are you guys seeing the +500 line?
I think it's on FanDuel.
On FanDuel. Okay. Cause like on Bet Online, it wasn't anywhere close to that. Like,
Bet Online, it's 365. And then at FanDuel, it's actually +600.
Okay. Yeah. See, now that's all right. So yeah, I would not have a problem with somebody betting that line at +500, +600, but at like +300, it wasn't juicy enough for me. But I would still just say the Rosa money line, throw her in your parlays. But if you can get +600 on that knockout line, I don't hate it because Betch has been finishing 3 of her 5 UFC losses.
Yeah, I think the money line's pretty safe to parlay as well. She is in my parlay personally. And then Narco, what are you looking at for this fight here?
I mean, I'm going to be boring. I don't have a bet, but the +600 KO line looks pretty good. Correia, 38 years old, last fight in the UFC, last fight probably in MMA period. Overweight, Rosa's 26, a lot of pressure, a lot of volume. Correia blocks punches with her head. So, if I was to play anything, I would play Rosa by KO at +600.
Yep, and then PayPal saying if your book has significant strike props, take Rosa over 75. Yes, I would definitely take that if I had the opportunity. PayPal, shout out to you. Yeah, I would really like to hit that, but I don't have access to it. So we'll move on to the next fight here, and we have very intriguing one. I see a lot of people in the community really split over this one. Anthony Shevchenko going against Casey O'Neill. We'll start with Uncle Weezy. Uncle Weezy, anything sticking out to you in this fight?
So when we were talking before the pod started, I said there was one fight that I just had no idea what to do. I was hoping to go last on this one, but it's fine because I cannot pick a side on this fight. O'Neill, I'm waiting for her to get exposed by somebody. And you would think that somebody with a decent takedown defense and a good ground game will be the one to expose her. And Shevchenko just hasn't shown that. But she will show these good ground games every other fight. She looked good on the ground against Pudilova. She looked good on the ground 2 fights after that. And then she got exposed on the ground by Roxanne, by Andrea Lee, by Chookagian. But it seems to be this every other fight where she actually looks a little bit better on the ground and she got dominated the last fight. Is this going to be the fight where Shevchenko actually shows a little bit of grappling ability, some takedown defense, the ability to be able to handle Casey O'Neill's pace? I'm going back and forth, and this reminds me of a fight a couple of weeks ago, Gustavo Lopez versus Haley Alateng, where I just couldn't pick a side, and I said I should have just went with the draw. So that's going to be the pick, you guys. I have no idea who's winning this fight. Plus 6,600 on the draw, 1/10 of a unit. And I'm just hoping that somebody gets caught for a fence grab and this thing goes to decision and then party at Wheezy's if this cashes. But it's kind of like the coward's way out, man. I have no idea. I can't wait to hear what you guys say about this fight because I have no idea where it's going. I'm just going to tell you 1/10 of a unit on the draw.
No, picking a draw is definitely not the coward's way out. Like that's a bold call. If that hits, you'll be a legend. You'll be a legend. So we'll see, man. Calling a draw is like nearly impossible. Narco Cop, are you leaning draw or are you leaning something else here?
I am definitely not leaning draw, but I have a bet on Shevchenko at plus 190. Right now it's 195. I like that. Looking at face-offs, like she is so much bigger than Casey O'Neill. She looks huge compared to Casey O'Neill. But like I honestly don't get this minus 230 line. Like that, like I understand she beat Procopio. Procopio won the first round. The only reason I think she beat Procopio is because Procopio gassed very, very bad in that fight. Go look at O'Neill's wins. Dobson, I mean, are those impressive wins? Meanwhile, you got, I understand Shevchenko's her ground game is not good, but she's fought way better opposition. I think her clinch game is really, really good and it's going to give O'Neill a lot of problems here. Just because she's so good in a clinch, she's going to be the much stronger person here. And if she doesn't gas, and I don't think she will, she's going to give O'Neill a lot of trouble here. So, getting a big plus money number on her, I think this line is way off, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think the line's off. It's dog or pass for me as well. In terms of a pick, I am probably going to pick O'Neill, but I don't hate the dog shot whatsoever. I thought initially about laying the minus 200 on O'Neill earlier in the week, but after watching tape on her, there's no way I could do that. She's just very, very hittable. The striking defense is non-existent. She's been knocked out twice as an amateur, and Shevchenko, she's not much of a finisher, but with how hittable Neal is, I wouldn't be shocked if there was a potential KO, and that's kind of where I'm leaning. Shevchenko by KO on DraftKings is now plus 1,000. It is an official play of mine. Put a quarter unit. I got it at like plus 800. It's now plus 1,000. Again, she's very, very hittable, and she's been knocked out before, so don't hate the shot there. But yeah, also the money line of Shevchenko, I would be more inclined to take that as well, rather than laying minus 230 on a very, very unproven fighter. Tajik, what are you looking at? Are you on the Shevchenko side or are you on the O'Neill side?
I'm looking into the context here. When I look into this fight, this is one of the fights that I'm most excited about on this card. And when I look at the context, to me, I think that Casey finds herself in the same position where Antonina was back in 2017. After her Dana White Contender Series performance, she beat Jeon Kim, and she was 7-0 coming in against her fight in a fight against Roxanne Modafferi. So we overcapped her, we overestimated her ability only because there was a lot of hype. So I think Casey right now, after her 2 wins in the UFC, finds herself in the same position. She's 7-0. She's undefeated. There's a lot of hype. It's baked into the line. We see it. And this is her first very serious competition. So it's a great opportunity to find out two things. First one, if the Casey is for real, we're going to find out. And the second for Antonina is if she's capable to stay in the upper echelon of her division. I tend to lean towards Antonina here. And in my opinion, she will win this fight. And I think the good bet right now is to win Antonina straight for plus 185. So I thought it's going to be a bold take, bolder than my head shave, but it looks like Narco Cop is on this line also. So it gives me more assurance and confidence that perhaps Antonina has a chance here. But if Casey uses her grappling and wrestling and then takes her down, her outside trip, watch for that. It's really good. She's been doing some judo, you can tell. She might look like a very solid favorite. But my lean is on Antonina, and I think she's going to win this one.
Yep, like I said, I'm probably going to pick Casey O'Neill, but I think all the value is on Shevchenko. We got a lot of Casey O'Neill fans in the chat. She's a very hype fighter, and she's young. She's very young. I do expect improvement. She's only 23, right? She has a lot of time. Shevchenko's 36, so we know who has the higher upside out of the two, but right now, I'm kind of leaning dog or pass as well with you guys. So move on to the next fight. We have Joe Solecki going against Jared Gordon in what should be a very fun fight. We'll kick it off with Tajik. Tajik, what are you looking at here?
Oh, so that's a tough fight to call, and I think the public is very divided. Well, actually, it's not like betting wise. There was some strong action on Gordon earlier, and I understand that. I don't have this interest in betting this fight. So they both come from the CFFC circuit, and I don't know. To be honest, I feel like Solecki has this one. I don't think he's getting enough respect for his first three performances. He's 3-0 in the UFC. I thought he did exceptionally well. I think in this fight he will surprise us actually with his stand-up. He will chin check Gordon. And if the Gordon stands and offers a competitive fight for him, I can see him trying to take this fight to the ground. I don't fancy much Gordon as a fighter, so I feel like Solecki is going to take this one. I think Solecki is going to win. His money line is minus 135 to win straight. And if you feel froggy, then you can try Solecki by TKO at plus 1,000 on FanDuel.
There you go. Yeah, Gordon's been knocked out 4 times, and all of his losses. For me, yeah, like you said, it's a very tough fight to call. I'm just going to take it safe. I'm going to go with the fight goes to decision, minus 180 on FanDuel. My reason being is, yes, Gordon's been finished in all 4 of his losses, but he's been finished by knockout in all 4 of his losses. He's never been submitted. He's a brown belt, or I've heard he's a black belt even, and BJJ, very capable grappler. I don't see Solecki submitting him. Could Solecki knock him out? I don't think so. I mean, Solecki has maybe 1 knockout on his record, and I think that 1 knockout was like a TKO ref stoppage there. So I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take it safe here. My pick will be Gordon, but I completely missed the line on it. I think it was like plus 140 earlier in the week. It is now plus 108, but I'm going to take it safe. I think it covers both sides. I obviously don't see Gordon finishing Solecki, not much of a finisher. And then I'd be kind of surprised if he did knock out Gordon, but like you said, Tajik, that is plus 1,000. So that's intriguing considering Gordon has been knocked out 4 times. So for me, I'll take the fight goes to decision minus 180. Narco Cop, what are you looking at here?
I have a bet on Gordon at plus 125. Even now at this point, if you can get like 115 on DraftKings, I think Gordon should be the rightful favorite here. It's not like a slight on Solecki because I do like his game. I just think that Gordon's going to have the better wrestling here. Submission grappling, yes, Solecki has the better submission grappling, but Gordon is very versed down there. I doubt he's going to get him, lock up a submission on him. And on the feet, I kind of favor Gordon too. And, cardio is another thing. Like Gordon pushes a really crazy pace. And I just think at a plus number, I think he should be the rightful favorite here, not Solecki. Solecki's faced, what's concerning with Solecki is watching that Miller fight, right? You go watch that first round. He laid on his back the whole first round. Like you can't be doing that against Gordon. You're just going to be losing minutes to him. So, I like Gordon here. I think Gordon should be the favorite. Gordon, plus 115 is still value in my eyes.
There you go. Yeah, I don't hate that line you got there for sure. We have some donos in the chat. Adrian saying, since the GOAT Tajik Bey is live, someone's got to keep them donos coming. Tom Breeze approves of the GOAT's pick. Shout out to Adrian, killing it with the donos. Mr. X saying, karma for a Gordon win. Appreciate you, Mr. X, for hanging out. Appreciate the dono as well. Adrian, another dono saying, I find Solecki unimpressive. If not of the weight class move, I would hammer Gordon. Yeah, that I guess was my concern, right? Like Gordon is coming back up a weight class, and Gordon is going to be the older fighter and the smaller fighter. I guess those are my only concerns in this fight, and ultimately why I did lay off. But I am going to go with the fight goes there. Uncle Weezy, what do you like for this fight here? He left. He left. He left here. See if we can. All right, so we'll move on. I was really curious to hear Uncle Weezy's take on that, but we'll move on and we'll come back to Uncle Weezy when he does come back. Hopefully he comes back. But we'll move on to the next fight. We have Alexander Hernandez going against Mike Breeden. Narco Cop, what are you looking at for this fight here?
I actually have a bet on Hernandez by decision at plus 200.
Ooh.
You know, I know it's a huge gap here, but like when I went and watched Breeden's tape, like it's not that bad. Like people, you know, this line is ridiculous at minus 700 or, you know, 650, whatever it is at. I do think Hernandez should win pretty easily. I just don't see him stopping. Breeden is pretty tough. Like you go watch, the guy bites down, you know, in that Romero fight in the Contender Series, like he was getting hit pretty good. Even came back in the third round, and I think he hurt Romero there. So he's durable. He has good cardio. I know this is a short notice fight, but he also missed weight by, you know, whatever, 3 or 4 pounds. So it doesn't look like he killed himself. So, you know, Hernandez's game is good. It's just, I think he overwhelms his opponents more than anything. So I think Breeden is tough. So I think he's going to be able to weather it, and Hernandez by decision plus 200 is not bad in my eyes.
Yeah, fair. Breeden is a very tough guy. He's only been knocked out once, and it was against a guy that was much, much bigger than him. So, Weezy, you're back. Weezy, what happened, man? You good?
Yeah, the internet keeps going down here. It's frozen a couple times for me, but yeah, I'm back. As far as the Solecki fight goes, I have a 2-unit bet on Solecki. I think he's going to be the better grappler here. We were talking about that first round against Miller. Yeah, he didn't look good in that first round, but that's when Jim Miller is at his most dangerous. I think the fact that he laid on his back and played defense for that first round, knowing that he could win the second and the third, shows how good a fight IQ he has. And the wins are just better for Solecki, plain and simple. I mean, nobody that Jared Gordon has beat. He's got 5 wins, and not one of them are impressive. So, you know, I think Solecki's wins are better. He's the younger man. I think he's the better grappler, and I think on the feet it's actually close. So I'm picking Solecki. And then after that, if we're talking about Hernandez Breeden, what was I going to say for that one? My notes have me saying, oh, yeah, so like Breeden is really tough, so I'm going to go with the over 1.5 in the Hernandez Breeden fight. Breeden's just country tough. I think it goes over 7.5 minutes. I don't want to try to pick because the line is so wide on Hernandez. Like the only way to get value on a minus 700 favorite is to pick him inside the distance or pick him by decision or pick a round prop. I don't want to mess around with that. I actually think that Breeden's going to hang around here for a while. He's got a decent all-around skill set, and Hernandez, we haven't seen that one-hitter quitter power from him since that debut against Dariush. So I'm just going to pick it goes over 1.5 rounds.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I'm kind of going the other way, though. I'm going with Hernandez wins in round 1. I think if he does finish, it's probably going to be in that first round, right? I mean, knocked out Grutzmacher in the first round, knocked out Dariush in the first round, and like Narco said, I could see him like overwhelming Breeden. But again, Breeden is very, very tough. If he's able to survive that first round, I do think the fight at that point probably does end up going to the distance. But I think if there is a finish by Hernandez, I think it'll be early on in round 1. I think it'll be very early. But yeah, I do like your guys' points of being Breeden being very, very tough. Tajik Bey, what are you looking at for this fight here?
I'm not looking at much in this fight. I don't have any interest in it. I was never interested in betting Alexander Hernandez. I don't think he's not somebody that you would bet on. His fights are very volatile. It's unpredictable. So it's very tough to bet on Alex with your money, right? He goes through debutants or heavy underdogs. He runs through them in a flying color. Then in the next fight, they give him somebody close to top 15, and he looks human, right? So to bet him is definitely not my shot of vodka. So I would say if I were to bet him, however, I actually don't mind Alex by decision. And actually, if you look into the DraftKings, he's plus 250 by unanimous decision. So again, not somebody that I would bet or ever consider betting. He should not be a favorite minus 500 against anybody. But if I were to bet him, I would do it at plus 250 by unanimous decision over DraftKings Sportsbook.
No, I agree. I mean, Alexander Hernandez minus 700. I mean, not something you really like to see. Adrian with another dono, killing it with the dono, saying, Weezy just went to watch Solecki highlights. This isn't the prototypical Weezy analysis. I don't know what that means, but shout out to Adrian. Cannot wait for that fight. We have 400 in here. Y'all can smash that like button. Thank you guys so much for hanging out on a Saturday, 1 hour prior to the fights. We have about 19 minutes before the prelims do kick off. We'll be done before then, but hopefully they start the fights right away. I know we lost the fight, so hopefully we don't have to wait like 30 minutes, but we'll see what happens there. All right, so we will move on to the next fight, and we have a very intriguing one. Misha Cirkunov going against Krzysztof Jotko. We'll start with Tajik. What do you like in here?
I spoke about Misha in my earlier appearances, and he reminds me of a lot of Khalil Roundtree, right? He's very unpredictable. I mean, in general, in terms of his mental strength, right? We don't know which Misha is going to show up. So I wouldn't bet Misha, just in general. He's self-managed. He's his own nutritionist, so it's very. I'm surprised he made the weight. It's great. I understand if you pick Misha on the DraftKings, he's a viable play. But to bet him, Misha is to me is mind-boggling, especially at 185. Going down the weight class, I don't think it solves the problem for him. And for Jotko, I think Jotko is a near top 15 fighter. So if he avoids early submission, I think he has a chance to stop Misha, and so I think taking Jotko inside the distance is plus 175 on DraftKings, and Jotko by TKO is also plus 210 on FanDuel. I think Jotko stops him here, but then again, if I wouldn't be surprised to see Misha just taking him down just because his grappling prowess is so strong. But I would not consider betting Misha. I think Jotko weathers the early storm and eventually will TKO Misha.
For me, I'm going to go with the fight won't start round 3, minus 108. I really like that line, considering Misha Cirkunov fights typically do end in the first round. And in the entire UFC career, he has never seen the scorecards. I think he went to the third round maybe one time. I think it was against Kudalaba, right, in the third round. But either way, I think this fight does finish early one way or another. I can very well see Cirkunov taking him down, submitting him shortly after. Cirkunov is very, very dangerous early on. And although Jotko's not much of a finisher, I mean, Cirkunov's been finished in all 6 of his losses, 4 coming by knockout. I guess the only thing that concerns me is Jotko is not much of a power guy, knockout guy, but just with the style of Cirkunov, I could definitely see a finish happening. Either way, I'm more so on the Cirkunov getting that early finish, though. And I do like that fight will not start round 3. I wouldn't even be shocked if it didn't start round 2 as well, which is sitting at plus 210. Narco Cop, what do you like for this fight?
This was one of those where I said, me and you saw pretty much eye to eye. I love that doesn't start the round 3 at minus 108. I also actually have a bet, kind of like it. Cirkunov round 1 plus 470. I think if Cirkunov wins, it's going to be round 1. The guy is a kill or be killed guy. He hasn't been to decision in 9 years. So, Jotko, I call him pillow hands because the guy really doesn't KO anybody. But, you're fighting a guy in Cirkunov who just blows his wad in the first round. And with him also, he gives me those give up vibes, right? When he doesn't get you, and you're kind of put it on him a little bit, he just kind of turtles up and gives up. So you see that a lot. And if Jotko survives that first round, I think he's going to make Cirkunov turtle up. So yeah, that doesn't start round 3. And then again, I have Cirkunov round 1 plus 470.
Yeah, I definitely do like both angles there. Wheezy, what do you like for this fight here?
I'm right there with you guys on this one. I think the fight doesn't go to decision is a great bet. You can even get it a little bit better than minus 200 right now in some spots. And, you got a guy in Cirkunov who in every single UFC fight that he's been in, it's finished inside the distance. And if you look at the combined losses between Jotko and Cirkunov in their career, 9 of 11 have finished inside the distance. So at this implied probability of like 66%, I think you're getting quite an edge here. And then add to the fact that Cirkunov cutting from 205 down to 185. Here's a guy who's been getting knocked out a ton. We know that when you drain yourself of all that weight, you become even more chinny. So, even a guy like Jotko, who's not known for his finishing ability, against somebody like Cirkunov, who doesn't, when he doesn't have success, seems to find the door, just like Narco Cop mentioned. You got to like the fight doesn't go here. And I think it's one of the safer bets on the card. So a fight doesn't go around minus 200. It's a great bet for me.
I like it. Looks like it is minus 185 on Bet Online even. I do like that, Wheezy. So move on to the next fight, and this could possibly be one of the most, if not the most exciting fight on the card. Nico Price going against Alex Oliveira. We'll stick with you, Wheezy. Wheezy, what are you liking here?
Sorry, wasn't expecting you to stick with me there. Okay, so all right, we are going to Oliveira Price. Is that the fight we're on?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I like Price inside the distance here at plus 125. I thought the line was great earlier in the week when you could have got Nico around minus 130 or minus 140, but that's really moved. Now he's sitting around minus 175. And I don't think I want to lay that kind of juice, but I think if Nico Price does win this fight, he gets it done inside the distance. So, Alex has way more mouths to feed than Nico does, but Nico's got plenty of mouths to feed on his own. So I think, Alex is going to lack the conditioning and motivation the last 3 rounds with Nico. Nico drowns him in the 3rd round. I think a 0.25 unit sprinkle on Nico's 3rd round prop might be really good at like plus 850, but I'm picking Nico Price inside the distance at plus 125.
I'm going to completely agree with you. This actually is an official play of mine. I have Price inside the distance plus 135 earlier in the week. I thought a lot of money would come in on that, but no, it's just been coming in on the money line, which completely makes no sense to me, right? Like Nico Price is a finisher. He's won only 1 decision in his entire career, like a 93% finish rate. Oliveira has been finished a ton of times in his career as well. So instead of laying the minus 200 with Nico Price, which I would never do, I do like that plus money shot on the inside the distance instead. Like, to be honest, in terms of money line, I'd probably be more inclined to bet Oliveira at that price tag, but I think Nico Price is going to get it done. If you got him earlier in the week, I think it was like minus 130, minus 140 earlier in the week. I like that, but the minus 200 is just getting a little crazy here. But again, like the fight or inside the distance for Price is around that plus 125. I like that quite a bit. Narco, what are you looking at here for this fight?
I mean, I don't have a bet. I couldn't even find one, to be honest. I just kind of skimmed through it, and I said, you know what? Oliveira by decision plus 450, something off, doesn't seem like it might stick, but Price is durable. I know he's been stopped multiple times. Dude is really, really durable. Go back and watch the Pereira fight last fight. Guy is really strong. But like Oliveira's on his last leg, I believe. But I think what's going to be effective for him here, and if he uses it, is that calf kick. Just because of how strong Price stands on his lead leg, the calf kick can be a really big weapon for him in this fight. And I think if he utilizes it, slows down Price, and once you hurt that lead leg, power comes off those punches. So I don't really like anything, honestly, but if I had to take something, maybe Oliveira by decision plus 450.
Yeah, don't hate it. Yeah, I think that money line is just a little bit too wide. Juan saying, I bet 1K on Carl Rosa. What do you think? I think it does hit. Boston Nick saying we're live 4 p.m. Pub Sports Radio. Yes, the guys will be going live in 10 minutes on Pub Sports. Go check them out after this. Live betting, live commentary, all that great stuff. Shout out to Boston Nick and the guys. So, Tajik, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Yeah, real quick. I don't have a kind of opinion as far as like how this fight is going to go. I don't have any interest in betting this fight. Oliveira has a tendency to suppress opponents' volume, and we should be wary of that. In my opinion, this fight has a potential of going into decision and turning into some kind of greasy split decision. I would say I would pick Oliveira by split, and the GTD line I think is plus 165. And then I don't have an interest in betting this fight. I don't recommend betting this fight. But I think it does go to a decision.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a phenomenal fight as well. We have two fights to break down left. We have the co-main event and the main event. Kevin Holland, Kyle Daukaus. We will start with Narco Cop. Narco, what do you like for this fight here?
I actually have a bet on Daukaus plus 145. You can get it. Is it 155 now or 150ish range now? Or did it go back down?
I see plus 140 at plus 150.
Yeah, so you can get it about plus 150 now. Holland's, striking is going to be, of course, better here. Dude, the guy's fight IQ is very bad. Daukaus is going to come forward. He's going to throw. I mean, he's not a terrible striker, but then I think his body lock, his clinch body lock takedowns are not bad. And I think if he gets Holland down, we've seen what Holland does, right? He sits there for hours on he did it with Stewart, and Stewart is not much of a grappler. So, I know people are all over Holland here, and I see it everywhere. I just don't get it, man. Daukaus is a tough guy. It's not like he's going to hit him once and he's just going to quit or give up. So I think Daukaus is going to be able to get this to the ground, and it's going to be his world once he's down there. So Daukaus plus 155 for me.
Plus 155 for you. Weezy, are you on the Daukaus side or are you on the Holland side here?
I have no idea what side I'm on. I'm picking Holland to win, but I can't bet him when he's juiced because of his fight IQ. It's exactly what Narco Cop said. It's fine if you take somebody that's like plus 250 and you question their fight IQ. If they make a bad decision, you're getting plus money. With a guy like Holland, we've just seen it over and over again. And the thing that fires me up more than the bad fight IQ, it's the lack of urgency. He doesn't have urgency in bad situations. It doesn't look like he cares if he loses a round. This is a 3-round fight. It's not a 5-round fight. Kevin Holland needs to have urgency from the bell to the end, and he doesn't usually have that. However, I think if he does win this fight, it's going to be because he gets Kyle in a ton of trouble on the feet and knocks him out. So, I'm not comfortable betting Holland to win at minus 170 because of the fight IQ. But I think his best win conditioning is knocking out Kyle Daukaus here. So that at plus 250, now we're talking about something like a 28% implied probability. I feel a lot better putting my money there. Even though Kyle Daukaus is ridiculously tough, he's never really faced a striker of Holland's caliber here. And we know that Daukaus's wrestling can leave a little bit to be desired from time to time. So I'm going to pick Kevin Holland by knockout, but I'm not betting it, you guys. I just don't have faith in Kevin Holland's fight IQ.
Yeah, this one's so tough for me. First of all, I think Holland does win as well, but I would never bet Holland at this price ever, considering, Daukaus very well does have a path to victory. For me, I'm actually going to take the fight goes to decision minus 136. I don't feel great about it, but I do feel great about Daukaus is not going to knock out Holland. Daukaus is not going to submit Holland, who's never been submitted. Holland is actually a BJJ black belt, solid grappler, no takedown defense, but he is a solid grappler. And then Holland, I guess that's the one thing I'm kind of nervous about. Holland does have a lot of power, but then again, Daukaus is very, very tough. He's never been knocked out. So if anything, I could see a Holland knockout like you, Easy, but I'm going to take the fight goes to decision minus 136. Tajik, what are you looking at for this fight?
Well, Holland is in the same league for me as Alex Hernandez. He's not bettable, and his fight against Darren Stewart is a good reason why. It's just tough to trust him in general, and bet on him is very risky. But I think this fight goes to a decision. GTD line is what 100 minus 135. 136, which I think is okay line if you want to bet this fight. So it could go, I think, either way. But if I were to pick this fight, I would take Daukaus by decision at plus 250.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Adrian, another dono. Great show, guys. Will Bale, best of luck. Always fun. Appreciate you, Adrian. Appreciate you for hanging out. We'll see you next week. But yeah, we have one fight left to break down, and that is going to be the main event. We will start with Tajik. Tajik, what are you liking in this main event?
I think my take is not going to be popular, and I don't think it's probable. But for some reason, I feel like this fight has a tendency may go to a decision. I'm trying to self-reflect as to why I'm thinking this way, and I cannot find a good reason. But at the same time, betting-wise, it's not something that I'm interested in. I think Santos will take this one comfortably, and and I just don't trust Walker. And I like actually Santos by decision.
Ooh. Santos by decision is, if I can find plus 1,000. No, that's Walker. Santos by decision is plus 700, and then plus 800 on DraftKings. So yeah, definitely a hot take there. Wheezy, do you think this goes to decision as well, or do you think it finishes?
I definitely think it finishes. Johnny Walker's got the worst striking defense in the entire UFC. I think it's just a little bit over 31%. And both of these guys hit extremely hard. Both of these guys have been knocked down in the past. But, you know, even though Walker's younger and has those tremendous advantages in the measurables, I got to go with Santos here. I think he's better on the ground. I think he's got much better fight IQ, and he's just better defensively. And that really bothers me, is the piss poor defense of Walker. When you're showing a 31% striking defense at this division, somebody, you know, and you're fighting a guy that's got a sledgehammer tattoo on his chest. It's a bad. I think this thing finishes inside the distance for sure. Fight doesn't go to decision feels like a very safe parlay piece, but the pick for me, because there's no value in that fight doesn't go to decision, it's like minus 700, would just be the Santos money line at minus 145. I think he gets the job done here, and I think he wins in the second round.
There you go. Narco Cop, what are you looking at for this fight?
Well, prior to getting on here, I looked at it, and it was fight won't start round 3 at minus 164, but it's up to 182 on FanDuel now. It's just a violence fight, man. Like, Walker goes in for the kill. I mean, the guy is going to throw all kinds of crazy shit to get you out of there. And he's very, very liable to get Santos out of there in the first. And he can also get, countered and getting taken out. So, like, his striking defense, like Wheezy said, is just absolutely horrendous. And, Santos throws very, very hard, and somebody's just going to go out. I don't know who it is. That's why I couldn't pick a side. So why not just, fight won't start round 3, minus 182 now.
Gonna completely agree with you there, Narco Cop. I think fight won't start round 3, minus 182. Fight won't start round 4. It was minus 240 before we started the show, but now it's minus 280, right? Which still, that's a lot better than minus 700. Fight doesn't go. So I think fight won't start round 4. Fight won't start round 3 are indeed fine there. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll kick it to Narco Cop. Narco Cop, let them know where they can find you and what you have going on throughout the week, typically on an MMA week.
You can find me on Twitter at NarcoCop. I have my own YouTube channel, NarcoCop MMA. I do a Dana White's Contender Series show on Monday, every Monday. We've been doing really well last couple of weeks. So, yeah. And I'll also have a new show coming up potentially on Friday.
Nice, there you go. Yeah, Narco's been killing the low level MMA, like the Cage Warriors, the LFA, all that good stuff. So not a ton of people do that. So go check him out if you're interested in that. Tajik, let them know where they can find you, and what are your plans going forward? Appearing on people's podcasts, or are you looking into doing your own thing?
Well, you can find me in the club. I joke. I think you can find me on Twitter. I'm available at Tajik Bay. Go in there if you want to follow me. I like more this kind of format where I'm alongside sharps like yourself, Narco Cop, and Uncle Wheezy. I think my intention kind of going forward is to continue down the same path. So long as there is an interest in the crowd, let me know in the comment section for us. If that's the case, then we'll see what happens, right? We'll make appearances, continue making these great shows for the MMA community and making them happy. I'm glad that there is a lot of attention right now. There are donations coming in. Keep them coming. I think it helps the channel. Pop Sports channel is a great channel. So yes, thank you again, and thanks for having me on the show. It was a pleasure.
Oh, for sure. Thank you for coming on. Yeah, it seemed like people loved you in the chat. So I would definitely like to have you back on in the very near future. Uncle Wheezy, where can they find you and what do you have going on throughout the week?
Check me out on Twitter at MMA Wheezy, and on my YouTube channel, Uncle Wheezy. I do balls deep breakdowns of fights. Every Tuesday night, I do a live full card breakdown called Just the Tip. You can find me on Pub Sports Radio every Sunday night with Brady doing Stat Diggers, and every Tuesday night with Brady. Couple other guys doing the DraftKings show. Yeah, just check me out there. Thanks for having me on, Brady. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you as well, Weezy. Shout out to you for coming on during vacation. Daz Fire with the dono on the way out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Go check these guys out on Twitter as well. We'll talk to you very soon. And good luck for UFC Vegas 38. Let's win some money. See